talk we'll talk about a topic I called confusion or distraction. This topic has been actually in my mind for last maybe I can say month. I don't know why. One day, just out of nowhere, I began to think about confusion. Maybe the word confusion, it came to my mind out of nowhere. But what really the more I was thinking about it, the more I feel it did not come out of nowhere. There is something made me think this way. I guess all the things that we hear around us, especially, let's say, Corona. Is it man-made or just something happened naturally? The vaccine, is it good or bad? Voting for this party or that party, which one is good, which one is bad? Doing things in the life before, let's say, traveling. I want to travel. It was just, you make decision, you make a reservation and you travel. Now it takes forever and you have to think, now, should we take this vitamin or not? Should we? A lot of a question mark. I think all this question mark in my mind, it pushed me to the point like one day, this will just pop up in my mind, confusion. And when I try to think about it from spiritual perspective, I find out, wow, this word is not regular word. It's very, very important word in the Bible. And there is a spirit of confusion in the Bible. So I find out the confusion is something we should talk about it, and especially in this age of our life. Maybe 50 years ago, people, they were less confused in their life, making choices. 100, 200 years, even this word wasn't maybe something people, they used to use it unless they want to get married. And even getting married, the parents, they used to manage this. So the confusion wasn't that much. Now the amount of confusion that we have in everything. For example, I was visiting family long time ago. They have a kid. It's like 40 years old. Excuse me. So they want to put their kids in the best school. So they were looking for, what they called kindergarten. So they were looking for a school. It takes them maybe 4 or 5 months because each school they go, they try to review what's this school bylaw. They find most of the schools, they don't mind to teach the kids, which is the 3-4 years old, about homosexual. So the parents, they were complaining. They say, Abuna, some school, very advanced, they give them application, the gender, there is like 4 or 5 kind of gender. They were so scared. So can you see the confusion from like 3 years old, maybe before? So the more we grow in this period of the time, in the history, this age, the more we grow, the more our confusion. School, which school? When I graduated, I had 1 option or 2 options, that's it. Now we have a zillion of options. A lot, I meet, not big percentage, but I meet a lot of our youth, tell them, oh, what are you doing? Oh, Abuna, I'm taking like this semester. I don't know, I'm lost, or I don't know what to do. I'm thinking, I'm changing my major, so I'm taking 1 year off. A lot of confusion, a lot in all the aspects, socially, spiritually, financially, physically, all kind of confusion. And the amount of confusion, it's being raised up daily, increasing daily. So what is the confusion? in general. I'm not talking about any spiritual meaning. Confusion, in other words, is like a noise where you are confused, you don't know what to do, but it's like a noise. So what's this noise? Is an obstacle to the ability to transmit or receive, which is something will disconnect you or make you hard to receive or to connect, to transmit, send something or receive. So something between the source of the thing that you're looking for and between your ear. So in this part between you and between the source of the thing, there is miscommunication over there. So you don't receive very good and you cannot also transmit very good, which is disturbance that leads to the weakening of transmitted message or its clarity so bad that it cannot be understood, to the point that this message or these things that you're looking for, you don't distinguish. Is it right or wrong, good, bad? So you actually being in the area that you cannot make right decision. And in other words, it's bad communication or miscommunication. Miscommunication in bad way, not in good way. It could be, or it can be, or it might be intentional or intentional, because sometimes I didn't hear or I couldn't make decision because I didn't really understand. Sometimes because really there is thing around me that maybe closing my ears, my eyes, make me blind to distinguish and to make right decision. Okay. Spiritually, the confusion, I call it myself, I didn't read it anywhere else, I call it spiritual attack. So the confusion, it's a spiritual attack. The evil one attacking our age with these very bad, I can call it condition or behavior or something that we go through. And because of this spiritual attack, and by the way, this spiritual attack had been from the beginning of the creation. We'll find out how. More confusion is actually, or the spiritual confusion is when a person doesn't know how or what they are or they want in their life. So when you are confused spiritually, you don't know, is the faith good or not? To be Christian is really something interesting or important, or I have to, or, you know, just something I inherited from my parents or because I grew up. So when you lose this sense of distinguishing, in other words, you get lost. So you don't know who you are or what you want in your life. This is also confusion. Another identification for confusion, confusion is a condition which the person get misled in his life. And as a result of this misleading in the person's life, that person will get away out of the truth or right way, or will lose even this relationship or the good relationship with God. Confusion, in other words, is conflict. So confusion is conflict, miscommunication or bad communication, getting lost, also the confusion. Another also thing for the spiritual confusion, where I am torn between the facts as I know them. When I am really getting apart, torn apart between two things. So I came to the point, I don't know if this is a truth or not. So this confusion make me in the point that I lose the sense of judgment to make decision what is truth and what is false. Also, during this spiritual attack, the confusion, as I just mentioned, it's a spiritual attack. The evil one, the enemy, use a variety, a lot kind of circumstances that oppresses us, that put pressure on us, on our mind, to bring kind of frustration, to make us, a lot of people, what you want to do? I don't know, Abuna. I'm so frustrated. I don't know what to do in my life anymore. In my marriage, I don't know what to do. In the school, I'm so frustrated. I don't know what to do. Spiritually, I don't know what to do. Okay? So in other words, this person who is under this, I call cage of, or jail, or like kind of cover, like blinding our eyes. So this person will end up find him or herself anxious, doesn't know what to do. So it's a process. It leads you to area where you don't know what you want to do, what the right things to do, or where to go. So this is, in general, what is confusion. So can you see confusion? I think in a way or another, we all have this confusion in our life, but there is healthy one and there is bad one. In other words, when I get confused, let's say to buy a car, excuse me, maybe I will make decision based on what is the need. Do I travel a lot, or do I care to save money in the gas, or what's my goal? What's my target? That will lead me to make decisions. So this confusion is healthy one, but most of the time, and majority of us, we have unhealthy confusion. In other words, when I am stuck in my life, in anywhere, in any area, example, in my relationship with my parents, I feel like they are in like in mountain and I am in another mountain. Spiritually, I am disconnected with God. I pray, but I don't feel anything, or I don't see myself improving. Financially, what I'm gonna do 2 years from now, if I am, let's say, guy, when I'm gonna get married, financially I'm struggling, so I get confused. If I am girl, I maybe love this guy, but he's not the best person, but my heart like lead me to be with him. So I get confused. This confusion, most of us in this age, we are going through it in a way or another. Some people very strongly, some people so and so. That's why confusion is very important to know about it. And in the end, God willing, we will find out how we can face this sense of confusion in our life. Spiritually talking, confusion, and if I want to conclude everything, confusion leads to the doubt in a Christian value. Confusion will lead us to have doubt in our Christian value. Even the things that maybe made me be confused, it was social reason, but always I will find the weakest place in my life, which is my spiritual life. So I will end up doubting why God is not helping me, Why God is not supporting me? Why there is nobody there for me? So the confusion will push us in a way or another to have these doubt in our Christian value, in our relationship with God, and in other words, we will be misled spiritually. That's why always the evil use this very smart way, and most of us, knowingly or unknowingly, I don't know, we pay attention to him, and the reality, the things that we go through, it's improving that with the time, raising more question in our ears, in our mind, the more I will be confused. For example, if I will give you one option, let's say we want to go, let's say, picnic, for example, okay? Very simple thing. Let's go to X Park to do the picnic. Okay, all of us will make our mind and goes. But if I will give you, where you want to go? You want to go to the beach? You want to go to X Park? You want to go to Y Park? You want to go to, I don't know, somewhere else? We're going to go to some forest. Where are we going to go? So people, they get confused. And if you have 5 places, you have 10 people, will end up have 15 opinion. So this is confusion. And this is what's happening. Raising more question, having more option will lead us to be more confused in our life. I will give you example how the questioning, because the questioning can be very good. The more you question, the more you know. The more you be knowledgeable, the more you be wise person. But if you don't know what you want in your life, the question will lead you to more confusion. For example, in the beginning of the Bible, Genesis chapter 3, we can see it on the screen, chapter 3 from 1 to 5. We'll find out that the serpent one day came to Eve, and the serpent was asking, saying, has God indeed, this is verse number 1, has God indeed said, you shall not eat of every tree of the garden? You see it? Has God indeed said, you shall not eat of every tree of the garden? While if we go to chapter before, where God really, what he said, which is 2:16, we will find out that the Lord saying, this is, and the Lord God commanded the man saying, of every tree of the garden you may freely eat, but of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil you shall not eat. You see, he said, really, the verse number 1, chapter 3, he said, is really indeed God said, you shall not eat of every tree of the garden? While God did not say that. So this doubt made Eve confused. So that's why raising up a lot of a question, having a lot of option, this will lead to have this confusion in our life. So that's why giving attention to these questions that we really don't know about it, or we have really knowledge about it, we are sure that what I want to do, but more people they ask me, more people they make me doubt, more I will be confused. That's why St. Paul in 2 Corinthians 11:3. By the way, this verse is very important. Believe me, it takes me a lot. I have been almost a month working on this topic. There is limited sources I was able to find in the net. There is a lot of things, but it's not together, and there is very few people talking about confusion. So that's why I encourage you to take these verses very serious and think about it. This is what St. Paul, he says in 2 Corinthians 11:3. He say, but I fear lest somehow, as the serpent deceived Eve by his craftiness, so your minds may be corrupted from the simplicity that is in Christ. So you see how St. Paul, using this story that we just mentioned from book of Genesis, he say, be careful, because the evil one who deceived Eve, okay, he's the same one. Evil is still the same and can deceive you and take you from the simplicity, the very pure thought that Jesus wants you to think. So in other words, you won't be confused. So we should be very careful. And you know what's the problem? The problem was when Eve responded to the serpent and began to talk with the serpent. And that was the first stage. The second stage, the poison, the corruption that the serpent began to give to Eve entered or made Eve thinking of wrong thoughts, wrong concepts. And that lead to other things. Eve began to believe or to trust what the serpents exactly said. And even the serpent was lying. Then the sin entered to the life of human race. So don't open the door in front any bad conversation would make you or will lead you to be more and more and more confused in your life. Because the minute you open, your mind is area where you cannot really control it. A lot of time, people, they say, Abuna, I know what I'm doing. They end up on drugs. What do you mean? How many times your parents, for example, told you? How many you hear in the church? How many times you read in the Bible? Don't be in communion with bad people, okay? No, don't worry. I know what I'm doing. You hang out with bad girl, with bad boy. Oh, don't worry, Abuna. I'm there to preach them. Excuse me, if you don't know how to swim, you want to help save people life who are sinking? What are you talking about? So the minute you open the door for that doubt, for that confusion will lead the bad thought or concept into your mind, and that will make you to believe the wrong as the right thing. As I just mentioned, one of the confusion that will make you torn apart between right and wrong. You don't know. So you are in point, you lose a sense of true judgment. You don't know what's right, what's wrong anymore. And I will talk by example on this. And then you end up fail and making wrong or mistakes in your life. Unfortunately, when our heart full of bad desire, earthly desire, and we don't know how to control it, and we don't close the door, we'll be confused and will allow the bad or corrupted thoughts enter our minds, then we'll believe it as a fact, and then we'll end up, unfortunately, make bad things in our life. I will give you example from book of Isaiah, chapter 5:20. But I will give you some small examples for that. what I was just saying. Now, if you stop somebody who's not really religious or he's a Christian by name, you ask him, by the way, last year I was working to make a Bible study about the homosexuality. So I said, Abuna, why you don't go to YouTube, hear what the Christians said? Believe me, out of maybe 15 or 20 tube I've heard, maybe 10 of them who they are Christian, they supported. And they are Christian. Some of them, they say, oh, I'm pastor so-and-so. Some churches, they have big name. They have convention. They are American. I'm talking about American, not Middle Eastern or Eastern churches, okay? They have big division in the church because some, they are with it, some are not. And this confusion made people adopting the corrupted thoughts or concept as a truth. So in this area, we really are in dangers. In other words, if you tell somebody now who is, as I just mentioned, he's only maybe Christian by name or not a Christian, what do you think about it? We'll tell you why you are persecuting these people. So it become, if you say about the wrong behavior, you identify it or you say, I'm against it, you're not going to kill as a Christian any person, or you are not going to threaten people's life. You only express your opinion, you will be wrong. Why? Because unfortunately, the whole society around us being corrupted to the point, being confused to the point that they don't know what's the truth, what's wrong, what's right. So they end up, if you say about the wrong things, it's wrong, people, they attack you and they say you are wrong. So if we read Isaiah 5:20, we will understand, and this is, don't forget, almost 700-800 before Christ, Isaiah said this. He said, woe to those who call evil good and good evil, who put darkness for light and light for darkness, who put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. So clear, this verse. You don't have to be smart to understand. Woe to those people. And woe, it means like those people, they are really kind of misleaded in their life, and they are cursed in their life because they mixing the good and the evil. They mixing darkness and light, and they mixing or confusing between the bitterness and sweetness. Woe to those people. Anybody can tell me another word for word woe? Anybody can tell me another word, like what can else we say?
Beware.
It's more, beware, very nice. How sorrowful, how misfortune, how bad luck, hard luck of those people who try to do what Isaiah say. Okay? How unlucky those people are. Okay? So now we'll go back to the confusion. So who's the one who tried to confuse us? Is the evil one. Confusion will never ever come from God, no matter what. So the enemy, he is confusing us for one reason, to separate us from God. How much people they are now away from God because they are confused. They don't know what's the truth, what's the false. there is a serious spiritual confusion in our culture these days. Sadly, both in the church and in the society out of the church, there is confusion. I will give you an example about this, some channel of the confusion. The media. When I say media, I say TV, I say social media, I say all the application that has in a way or another social part. I will give you example for that. TV. You remember what they call this program? Is very famous. Got Talent? I don't know if it's Got Talent, American or whatever Got Talent.
America's Got Talent, you mean?
Yes, okay. I'm not against this program, okay? Don't misunderstand me. But what they do in this program, for example, how they make people changing their way of looking to the things, and that will lead to confusion. For example, somebody will come and sing. If one of these judges, I don't know his name, Simon, I guess, he cry, he feel like what they call it, ghost boom, what they call it. He just push this pause and everybody, you know. So what are they doing when they do this way? When they choose this person based on how they feel? They teaching us, they teach the whole world that when you feel good, press pause in your life. Not based on what is right, what's wrong, but based on how do you feel. Not about if this is wrong or this is, even if this person who is singing or making any talent, it's bad things. For example, some people, they are magicians, yes? They became magicians, they do something scary sometimes. You know, people, they get scared. But if you are so amazed, you press pause. You agree to that person. Unfortunately, these kind of programs, they are corrupting our mentality that our judgment should be based on what is right, what is wrong, not what I feel. And this is very, very wrong way. So can you see the corruption, the confusion, how the confusion enter our society? Now, if you go, for example, to buy this water, if you feel good about it, you buy it. Not because it's good or bad. This is how they're making people. They're making people to make their judgment based on their feeling, not based on knowledge or truth. So that's why one of the very bad way to deceive people is media or social media. A lot of time we hear in the news something that we all thought it was certain way. 10, 15 years we hear, especially in the politics, you know, things. Somebody say, well, we said wrong because we want to do so and so. Medicine, they say, oh, this medicine is good for to fight the cholesterol. 20 years, they say, well, you know, we said so because we want to make money. So they making people getting confused. They making people lost somewhere. They making people doubt in everything around you. This is one of the very bad influence from the social media and the TV. I was talking about the problem between the parties. For example, last year and the beginning of this year, there was a big dilemma between the Republicans and the Democrats. People, they become two parts and they hate each other. I see people from this side, they go very far, very extreme. And I see people from that part and they go to the very far extreme. What do you mean? Confusion. This is what the evil one wants. So it's not about who's right, who's wrong. It's about to be against each other. We are confused. This is how the confusion enter our life. Another channel for confusion, the problem or the confusion in the church. For example, if I see some not good behavior from clergy, maybe in our church we don't have problem, but we always hear about the Catholic priest with the kids. I don't know if this is true or not. I'm not defending, I'm not against, I'm not with, but can you see how I am confused? But for me, you know, if one of the clergy did something wrong, the media using this thing in very bad way for one reason, to make people doubt and confused and be disconnected with God. Can you see the bad confusion, how it's affecting a lot of people? Some people, they are 80 or 90 years old. They say, oh, my dad was, I don't know, being, and they make it big issues. I'm not against those people because the church should say the truth and teach the truth and behave in the right way because the church is channel for salvation. We have no place for bad people. But only the clergy, they made something wrong. Why you make it so big? Because they want people to be confused so they can leave the church. In our local, I'm talking about our, church. Some people, they came to me, Abuna, I have a problem because I see ex-priest, ex-deacon, I don't know what person in any committee in the church doing something, saying something. They do, I don't know, like favorism. Okay, well, I think I lost my faith in the church. Can't you see that this is really confusion? The evil one tried to put in innocent people's mind so they can be disconnected from God and their spiritual life. So evil one using this confusion in the church too many ways. Also in the leaders of the church, sometimes not knowingly what they do, we only see in the social media, we get again very mad against them and we keep talking and we make people doubt and we make people confused. Another confusion when we have heretic or corrupted teaching. Somebody coming to you, is really Jesus crucified? Why Jesus should suffer? Can you see the good word? Why Jesus should suffer? Like poor guy Jesus, he's so good. Why they make people doubt and get confused? When we hear, for example, Jehovah's Witnesses, they confuse people. Mormon, some teaching in some churches, a lot of time, oh, Abuna, why you were like this? Well, I am Orthodox monk. Oh, but in the Bible didn't mention there is monastic life or priesthood. What do you mean? My church has been exist from day one of the Christianity. And now just person who is out of nowhere coming to challenge the priesthood. So there is also confusion from some Christian against other Christian because they think they have the truth, not knowing that the evil one using those people to make more division in the church, in the body of the Christ, make more confusion in the church among the Christian people who call themselves Christian. Some people, they doubt the sacraments. Is really this is body and blood of Jesus Christ? Is really Jesus said so and so? What is in the Bible, we believe in it 100%. What the church been practiced from 2000 years, we will keep it until the second coming of Jesus. Confusion always will lead to doubt, always will lead to separation from God. Also, sometimes, the spiritual behavior, people, they attack it. Oh, why should you cover your hair when you go to the church? For the woman, it's like all things. Make people live their spiritual life the way they want. Why you make people confused? So this Christian value, a lot of people, they attack it. Oh, where is in the Bible mentioned that we have to fast 50 days? Is the fasting hurting any person? Is fasting 50 days hurting anyone? Or it hurt the kingdom of the evil one? So why should we attack people who are fasting or reading Bible or practice some Christian behavior? This is the simplicity that St. Paul talked about, that the evil tried to take it and instead replace it with confusion. Now, some of this confusion, it's social confusion, I called it. When, as Isaiah say, when we say the truth, we say it's false, and when the false, we call it truth, or it become. I was talking about homosexuality, now drugs. If you say marijuana is wrong, well, Abuna, it's legal. Some people, they challenging like the truth. Oh, it's legal now. Just because it's legal, that's mean it's right? What about abortion? It's also legal now. Is it right to kill people? And so on, a lot of things. But when we accept one mistake and we approve it, or we transform it to be right or truth, that means we can make another mistake, also become truth, and third one. And then, 10 years from now, for somebody will say, I believe in Jesus, they will tell him, are you crazy? Really, Jesus was a real person or just like fiction? So this confusion, the social confusion that we live, this bubble of social confusion in the whole aspect, it's slowly changing the facts that has been in the life since day one, and they change it slowly, and the people's mind become to be corrupted, and they reach a point like Eve. They don't know what's right, what's wrong, so they accept the wrong concepts or thoughts, and then they will end up in bad place. The main goal, don't forget that, the main goal of the confusion is to destroy your simplicity, to destroy your relationship with God, to make people more disconnected with the truth. I will just say one thing. This thing, I didn't say it. There is big producer in Hollywood say this. He said, the main target of the media and social media is to distract the people and make them confused. He said, if we can make people confused and distracted, the media will reach its goal 100%. Now, let's just go very fast. We were talking just negative things. Now go positive things. What is the solution? How can I be not confused and distracted in my life? As a Christian, how can I be really person who can focus? The answer, simple answer for the confusion is mindfulness, focusing, concentration. This word is opposite of word confusion. Mindfulness or focusing, it's opposite of confusion. What do I mean by this? We'll go to Luke chapter 21, and this chapter talks about the sign of the last days. You see here, before 7, sorry, Megan, the sign of the time, okay? The sign of the times and the end of the ages, okay? So you can see that this chapter all talking what's going to happen, like earthquakes, famines, wars, a lot, okay? So the Lord saying a lot of things, nation against nation, kingdom against kingdom, a lot of things. But let's go almost to the end. Verse 25. This is what the Lord said. I want somebody to read this verse. Luke 21, 25. I want somebody to read it slowly and loud, please.
I can read it, Abuna. 25, you said?
Yes.
Okay. And there will be signs in the sun, in the moon, and in the stars, and on the earth, distress of nations with perplexity,
Perplexity.
The sea and the waves roaring, men's hearts
That's
falling.
it. Thank you. You see this verse, the second part, and on the earth distresses of nation with perplexity. Other word for perplexity is confusion. So one of the signs of the end of the times or end of the ages is confusion. The more we hear or we see people confused and more confusion in the life, the more you should see that the end is very, very soon. So in other words, the confusion, the big amount, the increasing amount of confusion in the life, I think that lead us to stop and think a little bit that maybe we are in this time. And this is something very, very important. Why? Because our life is too short. And as a Christian, we have the answer. We have somebody is telling us what's going on around us. If we don't pay attention to it, we would be without excuse. Okay? The main reason for this text or this chapter is not to be scared, rather to be aware. Example, you all have parents taking care of you. When we were little children, My dad used to tell me, don't touch this. It's hot. You're going to get burned. And I learned. You have to go to school to learn, because if you don't, you're going to lose time and then you're going to be out of nowhere. I heard. And a lot of things, maybe I didn't like to do it, but I had to do it because I trust my parents. Sometimes I didn't like that, but I was forced to do it. So they taught me what is truth and what is false, what is right, what is wrong. When I grew up to the point I began my life away from my parents, when I began to face, for example, my dad always used to say, smoking is so bad, drinking so bad. He said, do whatever you want, son, but smoking, don't do it. Himself, he was smoking for, I don't know how long. He said, then doctor one day told me and I stopped it and I live very healthy. I trust my dad. I never ever hold a cigarette in my hand. So when I was away from my parents, when I left the house, I was going to continue my study, okay? When a friend, bad friend, they told me, let's drink, let's smoke. I said, no, 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 no. So what Jesus actually said in this chapter, he was describing the sign of the end of the days. He was not scaring us. Rather, he was telling us, focus on what I said and be of mindfulness mind, so you can be aware of the confusion that you will face. So that's why focusing on what Jesus said will make us get away from confusion or have less confusion in our life. So that's why we have to train ourselves how we can focus, how we can focus on the Bible, how we can focus on our spiritual life, how we can focus on the true value that the church especially and the Bible and the Christian value, we can focus on it and we'll learn from it, so we can one day when we see something we don't know, we are confused, we can ask ourselves, is this right or wrong? So we can make judgment based on our Christian value that I learned from my life, from the Bible, from my family, from the church. Then I will be so easy, it will be so easy to make or to escape the confusion. So that's why if you feel like you have doubt, if you feel like you're confused, remember that the Bible always helping us. I will mention three things. Number one, that the Lord steadfasting us in the truth, focusing on the truth. And this is in Psalm 16:3. This is what the Bible says. Psalm 16:8. I have said the Lord always before me, because he is at my right hand, I shall not be moved. So when I am steadfasting my eyes, I focus my eyes on the truth, on the Lord, always, 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 he, capital H, the Lord will be in my right hand and I shall not be moved, which is I won't be confused. So if you feel you are shaking in your life, like you have earthquake inside your mind, your heart, go back to the Bible, learn the truth, get close to the church, confess, receive communion. This thing will make you steadfasting and you would avoid the confusion very easily. Number two, another things. This is in John 8:12. Okay? The Lord would light our eyes on the truth. I am the light of the world. he who follows me shall not walk in darkness, but have the light of life. So if you feel you are in very darkness area of your life, and because of that you are confused, the Lord giving you this good comfort, peaceful answer. He said, I am the light. Accept me. Follow me. Don't follow your bad, corrupted thoughts. Trust me. Follow me, and you would be able to find your way. As long as you follow the word and the word is dark, you will always be confused and use your direction. So if you feel you have some darkness, take God as a refuge and go to him, and he is the light of the world. Third thing, the Lord guiding us to the truth. So number one, the Lord is steadfasting us in the truth. Second one, the Lord lightening our eyes or opening our eyes on the truth. Number three, the Lord guiding us to the truth. Very, very famous Psalm 23. David the king, he said, the Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. So if you feel you are lost in your life, you had done something, you've been jumping from one thing to other thing, try to have this sense of peace and stability, and you don't know, you still like in gray area, remember this, the Lord is my shepherd and your shepherd. And if you take this shepherd as a true savior to your life, you and I shall not want. So if you got lost, and if you feel you are getting lost and you lose a sense or you lose the spirit of discernment, you cannot make right decision, give the leadership, give the leading to the Lord, and he will lead your life. Let him be your good shepherd and leaders. I will end up with these two verses when the Bible say God, this is in 1 Corinthians, St. Paul is talking about this confusion. He said, God, for God is not the author of confusion, but of peace, as in all the churches of the saints. God is not the author of confusion, but of peace. If you are unfortunately confused, that means you are not in the right way. That's why the Bible also saying, for we are not unaware or ignorant for the evil deceivers. We should be very aware and focusing on the truth and focusing on what we want as a Christian, and the sense of confusion will decrease and sense of stability will increase. Then we will have very stable and very peaceful life. I finish. If you have a question for me concerning this topic, please go ahead. No question. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. But anyway, so before we end up here with a prayer, I want to just say two things. This invitation for everybody, but especially for the local youth. We have this coming Saturday,